Manipulation. Strict manipulation. Dude, Light Yagami's face changed. Like his aura literally changed. So again, does the ends justify the means? That's a question I've been pondering on and on and on again the moment I started the show. Hello friends, my name is Benoit Kim, a UPenn educated psychotherapist and an expert of overanalysis. Assassination Zero is a sponsor to your highlights of today's video. I appreciate you and for your support. Make sure you check out and join our Patreon for exclusive content and Discord community access. Shout out to the best Patreon family. And let's see what episode 15 and 16 have in store for us today, because I was flabbergasted by how episode 14 ended with Rem saying yes to L's or to Light's request to kill L. Welcome, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Oh yeah, I love these recaps because I don't always record the episodes back to back. But in last episode 14, L's confession of his friendship towards Light, MISA's confession of her obsession and admiration and love towards Light, and also Rem's confession about if you do anything to hurt MISA, I will kill you. And lastly, Rem also saying yes to Light's request of his manipulation. Say, don't you want MISA to be happy? If I'm happy, MISA's happy. And nothing will make me happier than killing L. So many confessions and so many unexpected plot twists in last episode. So very, very hyped. That was crazy. Wager. Are there going to be wager of life and death? And also, you don't have to be a king of predictions to realize obviously it's not going to be that easy, right? Rem is not going to be able to kill L that easily. Then this will be it for the show. But obviously there's many episodes left. So we'll see what else will be wagered in today's episode. Remember my diagnosis for MISA in last episode, a histrionic personality disorder. I won't go into it since I already talked about it. But again, we see the contrast and how much more emotional, less rational, and just urgent and desperate MISA is for longing, relationship, and for Light to reciprocate the love, whereas Light continues to be very, very head first. All logic, all rationality, no emotions. Again, Light Yagami represents rationality and methodical approach, and MISA represents emotions and very heart-driven. Although both of them are antisocial and both of them are sociopathic because of everything we've seen, but very, very different. But it's a very interesting and fitting way for the writers to make Kira and the second Kira very complementary, but also very different at the same time. Look at the hot and cold. MISA is so hot, but Light is so cold. No thanks. I will be the one making the call. I'm going to keep the phone off. And MISA is desperately doing anything and everything Light Yagami wants. But Light Yagami, on the other hand, because of his methodical approach, because he's more meticulous and he understands the trickiness and delicate balance because he's under the police surveillance and so on. He's shutting down Misa's requests one by one. But Misa doesn't get offended. Of course, she sounds disappointed, but she eventually goes with it because that is the display of Misa's histrionic personality disorder. And as I talked about previously, personality disorders are a byproduct of broken attachment style, desperation for longing, relationships, and so on. But again, very hot for Misa and very cold for Light. Manipulation, strict manipulation. Misa is like under like an enchantment spell. He used the release of dopamine, endorphins, also serotonin, as I talked about, and also oxytocin, which I shared, which is the feel-good hormone. Chemicals are generally known as like the love or cuddle hormone. As soon as Misa was kissed by Light, there was this, I'm sure, insane amount of hormonal dump, neurochemically, and especially with oxytocin. So Misa is completely disoriented. She has no idea who she is, except for the fact that Light just kissed Misa. And guess what? Light Yagami once again gets away with what he wants to do by disregarding Misa's feelings and requests. And remember what Light Yagami talked about in the previous episode? That Misa is a bigger nuisance for Light, even more so than L. So I'm sure all of us saw how much impatience and I'm sure annoyed Light got before he decided to do this tactical approach by kissing Misa to manipulate her once again. Color theory of Kira's red comes up again, but this is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, that Light Yagami spoken in a third person perspective. This is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, again, that Light Yagami talked about his primary identity of Kira, the false savior, and the secondary identity of Light Yagami. So interesting. And how narcissistic you have to be to talk about yourself in a third person. But of course, we all knew that. Wager. I love that, such a melodramatic and intense scene. Ultimate face down. So, of course, knowing L, he's not just gonna fold his hands and give up and wait for death. So, I'm very, very excited to see what L does. In anticipation, since he doesn't know Kira's plan. But of course, as we've seen with this high level invisible chess match between Kira and L, we know that L is very good at reverse psychology and playing chess moves in anticipation of what Kira would do. So I'm very curious to see what L will do. Look at how grayed out Chief Yagami has become with the chronic stress that I talked about and the health impairments and the deterioration because of ongoing acute and chronic stress. As soon as I said, what does L do? He drops a bombshell of news that, oh, by the way, hair, snack crumb. Oh, by the way, while Chief Yagami and the other detectives were unassuming, just chilling and sitting in the couch. I'm sure trying to figure out what Elle is doing, looking at the hair and all that. And so casually, by the way, if I die in the next few days, your son is Kira. This is exactly what I was talking about. And Elle has truly transcended his life. Because we knew this. By the time that Akira's detective or investigation team was formed, after multiple vetting process, we knew everyone, including Elle, were prepared to lay their lives down for the sake of justice. But again, poor Chief Yagami. I'm sure he just almost had a heart attack, and I hope this bombshell of news doesn't cause him another heart attack, because Chief Yagami has suffered enough. Man. No explanation. This is what makes L so brilliant, because he is aware of his own limitations. He's aware of his own biases and the emotions he's experiencing. And he's never been in a situation like this. Not dealing with one, but two supernatural criminals. And one of those supernatural criminals and opponents can match him move for move, chess for chess, intellectually. But it's so impressive that L can check his own biases and even verbalize it, acknowledge that I've never been in this situation before. I can't even view the situation calmly and objectively. That ability to, that level of self-awareness is truly what makes L so remarkable beyond his amazing intelligence he's displaying. Not many people can do a level of cold self-analysis and self-evaluation like L. And L has no hubris. He's extremely objective, matter of fact. And if you're at that level of matter of fact and objective, then you're very humble. You know your shortcomings. You're very aware of what you're good at and what you're not good at, and when you're prone to making mistakes. And that's what L is demonstrating beautifully here. Man, this is all wager. Remember what I talked about with their synchronization of their brain waves, and they're in a weird way, they could have been soulmates, but of course now they're the ultimate ops, as the kids will say, in Nemesis. Of course, these are all writers, right? Writers are the ones who are writing all this, but still, so amazing that both Kira and L, who could have been soulmates, who are now two mates duking out to get their souls, as I talked about in the previous video, they once again synchronized and saying the same thing. This is all a wager. Wager of, like I suspected, life and death. Wow. The fake date with Miss University. Dude, poor Miss University. I'm sure they just started their dates. And here comes rain check yet again. Man, I mean, like I said, Light Yagami does have a full package. And as talked about in the last week's video, if I were gay, I would 100% go for Light. Again, on the surface, Light Yagami has it all. He checks all the boxes, truly. That's why I'm sure Miss University puts up with it, and all the other girls put up with Light Yagami, because he's very, very desired, but so rude. And yeah, just not a caring dude, obviously. Is this a surprise attack? Nice. Nice. Hilarious. As long as you don't die, college is a fun place. Only someone like L can say that statements so calmly, so matter of fact. Can you imagine you're talking to a friend and he's like, "Oh, by the way, how's college going?" "Oh, good. You know, as long as I don't die, college is a fun place." Like, what? And L is so good because the reason for L to come back to school is because, "Oh, remember Yagami? You told me that you missed me. You told me that you've been lonely at school. So out of our friendship, here I am. Let's have a romantic date." Right? Because again, they are bromance that never happens because of, well, you know what. And such a powerful counter move in anticipation of exactly what I said by L. If I die, I told everyone at the HQ that to assume you are Kira. Such a powerful move. Bingo.
Jesus Christ.
What? Hold on. Did L just casually commit sexual assault by touching Misa's butt without consent? What is going on? And I don't buy what L is saying. Maybe he is a fan and sounds like Misa is a lot more popular and has like a low key celebrity status or influencer status. But that's smirk by L. Because L, I think anytime L is with Light Yagami, he entered this like tunnel vision hyper observation mode. So knowing L and how meticulous L is, especially around Light Yagami because of the suspicion and all that, I'm pretty sure L saw Light shifting his body and covering in front of Misa. And remember in the fake Kira video, Misa again carelessly exposed and revealed the fact that she has Shimigami eyes or Shinigami eyes. So do you think L is good enough to pieces some puzzles together just based on that shift of body language and just whatever this is happening? Because L also just saw Light coming from a date with Miss University, right? So I can't wait till L reveals what he's thinking about, and hopefully L also has like a monologue that's to come to show us what's going through his mind, because I have no idea what he's thinking about, especially with this very, very much unexpected sexual assaults, because that's what it is. He touched Misa's butt without consent, and of course Misa thought it was funny, but obviously it's not a funny thing. And one could say that L did that because he's autistic, like we talked about. He lacks social cues, but he works with detectives. I'm sure he knows the basic laws, what not to do and what to do, working with the police for so long. I'm guessing that's Misa's like manager, right? Obviously, sounds like she's late to her schedule and shooting. And of course, the reason why Light stepped in front of Misa, because he knows Misa and how careless she is and how reckless she can be. So of course, knowing Misa, before Light interjected that, yep, he has Yoga has the same name, same first and last name as a celebrity, to prevent Misa from blurring out, wait, that's not your name. Because if Misa said that, it's game over. L knows she's a fake Kira by making the connections between the Shinigami eyes that I talked about. But yeah, I guess at the end of the day, but still Misa learns and uncovered L's real name, which Light doesn't know about. But my question is, how is Light gonna mitigate from the fact that L already told everyone at HQ, if I die for whatever reasons, assume Light Yagami is Kira? How is he gonna go around that move? Because that move is like all encompassing. As long as he dies, Light Yagami is Kira. The show is crazy. Here comes a wager. Oh, that intensity. Yeah, this isn't sus at all. I'm sure there's bathroom in the cafeteria. And again, you don't think L is going to be suspected or sussed out by Light Yagami going the other way to use the bathroom when they were going to go to the cafeteria to have cake? Very sus. Here comes a burner phone. Don't get cocky now, Light. No answer. Misa's probably busy shooting. Or maybe the manager has Misa's phone, so the call's not going through. Oh, this show is crazy. L is crazy. It's very weird that Misa, out of nowhere, who was not under the radar for the police, and remember, police has been surveilling Light God knows how long, especially as the suspicion grew and grew. So first, it's very odd that there is this character out of nowhere entered Light's life. And obviously, it seems that Misa knew Light, and Misa is a very high status influencer slash model. That makes it even more sus. Second, the chance, because it's so odd and so random with the encounter and again everything I talked about, because of that, the chances Misa potentially being a second Kira, because L knows that first the real Kira and the second Kira are work in collaboration. So the odds of Misa being the second Kira just went up. Third, if that's the case, then they have to communicate somehow. And L knows that Light knows that he's being surveillanced and being watched. So L knows that Light won't use his own cell phone to contact Misa or a second Kira. So fourth, the odds of them having access to like a burner phone or like a temporary phone is very, very likely. You don't have to be a criminal mastermind to know that criminals use burner phones. Duh. So with all these, within that whatever 30 seconds a minute interaction, L's brain were just rapid firing. That's why he needs cake to refuel his brain. That if Light calls Misa's cell phone right after the encounter, because Shinigami eyes and all that, then guess what? Misa is probably second Kira and Light Yagami is the Kira. And guess what? Lo and behold, Light Yagami got too desperate, too impatient, and got too cocky. It was nice meeting you and playing with you, L. It's been a pleasure. And it's a pleasure for me to kill you myself. And with that calling, L dangles Misa's phone and says, gotcha, checkmate. You expose yourself. And the wager continues. Wow. You see, oh man. Moshi moshi. Wow. This is too much. We did it? Did what? What? So that hair samples and snack crumbles were from Misa. Because of course L is not going to do anything that's meaningless. Wow. Unbelievable, dude. Unbelievable. You see that? Right here with this, again, metaphorical scene. Light Yagami's on a very, very tall building, but where is he standing at? He's standing at the edge. He's standing at the edge of the building where he might fall and die. Again, it's a symbolic representation visually that he was careless, and if he's not careful, he might fall off the building and die. AKA, L is going to put him to justice and reclaim or claim victory. I love these metaphorical scenes. Wow. He's falling. Exactly what I said. Hmm? Madada. I absolutely love these symbolic scenes. Wow. And obviously, knowing L or knowing Light, a world class psychopath who wields supernatural power, he's not going to give up this easily. He still has a secret weapon of Rem in his back pocket, despite Misa and being in custody. So I'm still curious how Light is going to bypass L's firewall and insurance of telling everyone at HQ that Light Yagami is Kira if L dies. So I'm not sure how he's going to bypass that. I can't really think of a way because that's a general blanket insurance, despite Chief Yagami having a severe conflict of interest. And I'm also curious to see what Chief Yagami would do if that is the case. And again, conflict of interest. Yeah, because the moment I think L told the investigation team that Light Yagami could be a suspect, Chief Yagami shouldn't be in the investigation team because that's literally conflict of interest. It wouldn't be legal or allowed. But obviously, it's not a confirmed suspicion, and he is the chief. So, wow, my lips are sweating. Hmm? That makes sense. Covering her eyes. Shinigami eyes. This also gives like a weird sexual bondage vibe, but it makes sense that she can't write because obviously they know about the supernatural power. So her hands have to be tied up. Her eyes must be covered because the Shinigami eyes, which Misa exposed and revealed herself carelessly. So this is a very, very appropriate safety measure for the sake of everyone else's safety. Um, but I guess the only thing they didn't cover up is her mouth because they can't confirm the existence of Shinigami, aka Rem, because she can still communicate with Rem. But I guess if she talks to her, then it's 100% confirmed that she's the second Kira. But Rem could still kill people, right? Although weren't there the rules that she'll be breaking some sort of a Shinigami rules if that is the case? But makes sense. The only thing uncovered is her mouth, so they still interrogate her and interview her and gather more intels and information from Misa. But yeah, obviously it's a weird setup, but it's very, very appropriate given the given the risk concerns of her being a second Kira. Yeah, you can tell all the detectives are very, very uncomfortable because based on the Geneva Convention, right here, UN established bunch of security measurements to safeguard and protect the basic human rights, even against criminals. That's why torture, number one, has been outlawed. Of course, even though the United States and a bunch of other countries still do use torture in secret, because let's be honest, UN means well, but all the power in the UN is held by the Security Council. And what countries are in Security Council? United States, China, Russia. Come on. It's a rigged game, right? So I respect UN's mission, but in reality, UN is pretty powerless because all the deciding power and influence are held by the superpowers, the national superpowers of China, United States, and Russia, right? That it is what it is. But because of the Geneva Convention and all these human rights, which Japan is also under, I think they're very uncomfortable by this torturous, inhumane treatment because her lawyer is not being summoned. They haven't gone to the due process. There's no trial yet. She's just being held in confinement against her will in a very cruel manner on the surface. And in addition to that, L literally just said, do whatever it takes. I don't care. Do whatever it takes, Watari, to get information from her. So I think this is what a lot of viewers been commenting. I can't wait to see your perspective and how your perspective on L shifts with the story goes on. Case in point, L is also crossing legal and ethical boundaries to do whatever it takes. He went from a deontology definition right here, doing things by being principled and abiding by the laws and rules. That's deontology versus utilitarianism. The ends justify the means. I think because of his desperation and the difficulty and the hardships he's having against Kira and second Kira, I think L is shifting more into the utilitarian aspect, whatever it takes. I don't care how many lines legally or ethically I cross, as long as we can capture Kira. And Chief Yagami and all these young detectives are now also active accomplices and enabling L's behaviors. Because all of them, the fact that how uncomfortable they look, knows that L is not really following he's not really following the rules or laws anymore. He's also breaking the law. So again, does the ends justify the means? That's a question I've been pondering on and on and on again the moment I started this show. Wow. This shit is so intense for Chief Yagami. Poor Chief, dude. Wow, Rem's appearance physically kind of matches Misa's appearance. They're in this white hospital gown outfit. I know this is a serious and very dramatic moment, but I'm just trying to spice it up because this shit's getting really intense. Poor Chief Yagami, dude. What do you think he's thinking about right now? After hearing what Elle just said, I'm probably gonna call in your son as the primary suspect. Please be prepared. How the F is Chief Yagami gonna prepare for that emotionally and mentally? Oh man, I hope Chief Yagami doesn't have another heart attack. Oh gosh. Oh, 3 days. 3 days of illegal confinement without a lawyer being present. Wow. She's telling Rem? She's talking to Rem, not Watari. And Misa is also being stood up. Like she's not laying down. She's in vertical. So she's been like it's like Jesus. Like literally when Jesus was hung on the cross, she's literally being stood up, dangling vertically for 3 days, being confined, absolute darkness, no freedom. This is torture. Like this is extremely inhumane. Although again, it is an appropriate safety measurement because of the supernatural power second Kira represents. But man, she's talking to Ram. Yep, called it. Nice. Nice. Oh, I got goosebumps. Oh my gosh. L is so good. Wow, because L doesn't know with 100% certainty whether Misa is talking to them through the speaker or talking to Shinigami. Because again, Shinigami has not been confirmed, although they covered up her eyes as a cautionary measure. But this is such a nice move that she can't spat her tongue and she can no longer communicate either externally or with Rem. Wow, but I do respect Misa, although what we're seeing is again, it's Misa's mental illness and personality disorder, right? This is the desperation, and that's why histrionic personality disorder and many personality disorders are disorders. It's not just disordered thinking, it's truly disorders because she is willing to give up her life for Light Yagami, like what Rem said. And that's why she's not admitting to the detectives that she is second Kira. Because if she admits that, remember, Misa is not stupid. Yes, she is reckless. Yes, she can be careless because of her emotions. She's very hot. But at the end of the day, she knows the basic precautionary measures. She knows the basics of not admit to that. Because through that, in association, they will find out Light Yagami is Kira. So she knows that. That's why she's choosing the third path by asking Rem to kill her to save Light Yagami. Whoa, I guess they could teleport? Bingo. Oh, the fourth way out. Hmm. Misa only shook her head at forfeiting ownership of Death Note because she didn't want to forget about Light Yagami and forfeit her love and confessions for Light Yagami. So as soon as Rem assures her that, she nods. Because again, at the end of the day, like Rem said, the human she loves is Light Yagami, not Rem, not Shinigamis. And this is a win-win-win scenario. And I forgot about this rule. That's why I didn't think there was a way out, but there is. And think about the extent of Rem's effort and Rem's just creative, out of the box thinking, all these things just to rescue Misa. Once again, we see the different biases and the tremendous psychological difference and attachment difference between Yoke and Light Yagami, who's only here for amusement and elimination of boredom, whereas Rem is emotionally and psychologically invested in Misa. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Oh, she is crying. Yeah, Misa likes Rem too. I see that. There's affinity. Another thing about a histrionic personality disorder is, remember the criteria it talks about? Sexuality, provocative clothing, shallow emotions, feeling like you're closer to someone than you actually are because of histrionic nature. Histrionic personality disorder, or individuals with histrionic personality disorder, they form attachments very, very quickly. Again, it's the distortion of, in reality, it's a not meaningful relationship or attachment, but in their mind, it's very, very meaningful, very, very deep. Of course, I do think that the attachments and relationship between Rem and Misa are meaningful, but I do want to talk about that histrionic individuals, they do form attachment very, very easily. And so her tearing up right now could be twofold. Fold one, she does care a lot about Rem, and Rem does have a special place in her heart. Although in the previous episode 11, Misa said that, "Do you love me, Rem?" "Oh no, I guess I can't kill you. You caught on to me." So she even contemplated killing Rem. So again, I don't know if that was a joke, or again, obviously Misa is sociopathic as well, so she is capable. And the second, it's the presentation and display of histrionic personality disorder, shallow emotions and distorted attachments. But that's what I'm taking out of her tearing up right now. Before, I'm sure Rem wipes away her memories, because by nodding, Misa just gave her consent to forfeit the ownership of her death notes. Elle saw that because there's no wind and AC in that room, I'm sure. Oh man. Ooh. Wow. Another wager. Wow. That was intense. Wow. Throughout all this, your yoke, again, this is so much entertainment and amusement for yoke. He's not defending Light Yagami. He's not clapping back at Rem. He's just standing there in silence, just soaking in the glory of entertainment and amusement. Wow. But Rem is serious. Rem really, really cares for Misa. Deeply, deeply so. And I guess another question I'm thinking about is, what is the attachment style for Shinigamis? And are all Shinigamis capable of forming attachments? Because we saw Jeru and now Rem forming attachments with Misa and Mane. So I have so many questions. I would love to have a Shinigami as my client in my psychotherapy or put them into an fMRI machine and dissect their brains. But man, so many questions. What? Hold on. What did he mean by this is goodbye yoke? Is Light gonna forfeit his ownership of Yoke's Death Note and take over Misa's Death Note? Can he have two? I mean, worry not, because we're about to start episode 16. Decision. Oh, what decision? Forfeiting Death Note for Yoke? Wow, that was so intense. Looks like Misa's memory's been erased. But which Death Note did Light just forfeit? Was it his original Death Note? Is that why he said no to Yoke? What is going on? And why are they being so shady, making that trade in some sort of a forest? It's not like anyone could see him. And wouldn't it be sus that he went to a forest under the police surveillance? Or was that yet another metaphorical and symbolic scene? And the trade, the deal, didn't actually happen in a forest setting? Misa must be so confused right now. She's bamboozled. Hmm? Is that the reference to that stalker who almost killed Misa from the flashback that we saw with Jero's story? Did all her memories wiped out after Jero saved her? Does that mean that Rem also came into the human realm and attached to Misa right after that incident? Is that why all the memories were wiped out in between? And the most recent memory that Misa remembers is the stalker. Obviously, before the stalker tried to kill Misa. What? How long ago was that? And how long ago has Ren been attached to Misa? That is a significant amount of time. Wow. Hmm? That's really smart for Lights. I think Lights just derives inspiration from Ram's strategy of saving themselves by forfeiting the ownership of the notebook. So I guess now Light Yagami re-remembered and now have a failsafe, like an exit strategy. If push comes to shove, if L gets closer and closer to capturing Light Yagami, or if Light Yagami is captured, and is undergoing a very similar scenario as Misa is, then he's gonna forfeit the notebook and erase all the memories and return to that extremely intelligent but nihilistic high school or college students that he was. And I guess the notebook that he forfeited was Rem's. Makes sense. But why did he say goodbye to Yoke at the end of episode 15? Because he's hiding the notebook? Can Yoke still follow Yagami around with the notebook buried underground? Or does a yoke have to stay within the proximity of the notebook that is now buried? I have so many questions. It is low key illegal. Dude, look at how stressed Chief Yagami is. Ah, oh, poor Chief. Also, Misa's responses of, "Hey, Mr. Stalker, this is illegal. Can you at least take off my mask?" Do you do you sense any tremors and fear in Misa's voice? No. She's not scared of that scenario. Why? She's sociopathic, right? In addition to histrionic personality disorder, MISA also displays antisocial, ASPD, antisocial personality disorder, or sociopathic tendency. That's why she's not scared. Although, that's not to say that sociopaths are incapable of feeling the emotion of fear, because fear is humans' primary emotion. Because without fear, we would not have survived this long, starting from the lineage of Homo sapiens. So fear keeps humans alive. That's why it's not a bad emotion. If it's excessive and it paralyzes you, then of course it is unhealthy. But on the most fundamental level, fear keeps humans alive, period. But in Misa's voice, I do not hear any sense of fear. So interesting. I will give you an autograph and a kiss on the cheek. Misa is wild. She's offering that to the kidnapper, who in her mind is holding her hostage against her consent, blindfolding her, chaining her up for days. She thinks autograph and a kiss on the cheek is sufficient? Misa is wild, dude. Wow. That's the brutality of what a lot of public figures and celebrities and females go through. A lot of stalking, just letters, invasion of privacy, and so on. So that is true. I do feel for a lot of the female public figures because, yeah, being stalked and all these just invasive acts by males and creepy fans, they do happen a lot. So, but yeah, look at how calm under pressure this potential life and death scenario that Misa is in, under the assumption that she was kidnapped, because that is kidnapping by the stalker. Although in reality, obviously she's under the custody, but she doesn't know that. So we're seeing her absolute memory loss, and I'm sure I wonder what the detectives are thinking about, and yeah, I wonder what's going through Elle's mind also, because it's such a, like he said, it's such a different presentation. Misa, it's as if woke up after passing out and became a different person. so confusing for them. Oh, poor Chief. Poor Chief Yagami. Oh, what? What? I might be Kira? Might? It's like when guys cheated on their partners, girlfriends or wives, whatever, right? It's like when guys cheat, like it was an accident. What do you mean it was an accident? You accidentally slept with them? What do you mean it's an accident? That's literally what Light Yagami is implying. I might be Kira. What does that even mean, dude? But again, poor Chief Yagami, dude. Oh, that's why he's like, that's impossible. Because like I'm sure he's freaking out right now. Look at that perfectly mastered pro-social masking or masked psychopathy that I talked about extensively with Light. Look at his soft facial expression. Right? He looks sad. I could feel the sorrow across the screen. Dude, honestly, Light, if you survive this, man, don't be a detective. Just come to the US. Join the Hollywood. You'll be a world-class actor. Academy Award winning worthy actor. You chose the wrong field, man. Just be an actor, man. Oh, but again, what a shock and unspeakable amount of heartbreak and stress for the father, Chief Yagami. Oh, but at this point, I guess starting from episode 16, this point, moving forward, L will operate everything under the assumption that Light Yagami is Kira. This is getting so interesting. Hmm. Hmm. And we know that's true because Light's been carrying a slip, piece of paper from the notebook in his back pocket, aka supernatural weapon, metaphorically. So it's true. And again, here we see the, I guess, naive innocence and the inexperience for the first detective who spoke up. He is young and he does speak his mind, as we've seen from the first Kira's investigation team. So we know that's true. But again, we see his inexperience and the second detective with the afro hair who spoke up. And he's like, actually, that's not true. There could still be a way. So we're seeing the detectives' gap within their experiences just from this scene alone. And this is so interesting because not in a million years I ever thought Light would use DID as a potential way out and excuse. DID is right here. Dissociative identity disorder. It was formerly known as a multi-personality disorder. I've talked about in other shows I've covered that a person who seemingly has different personalities, different speech pattern, different memories, different body language, just completely different and distinct. But multi-personality is not accurate clinically. So in the recent DSM-5, about a year and a half ago and 2 years ago, they updated to DID, dissociative identity disorder. What that means, different identities are dissociated from each other. That's why one person can uphold so many different distinct personality patterns like I talked about. That's the route that Kira is trying to get away with. That, hey, maybe I go through this unknown memory loss. Maybe I become unconscious and a different personality awakens and is committing killing as Kira. So yes, I might be Kira, but I'm unaware because that Kira is a dissociative identity from me per DID. But so I wonder if Light Yagami, after Rem's threat that if you do not rescue Misa, I will kill you, before Rem flew away. You think Light Yagami was preparing and doing countless research since that moment of looking at every possible cases in the US or globally where murderers got away with murder and their crime? And second thing, because I'm a forensic psychotherapist, I know the landscape of individuals who commit killing under psychosis really well. I've worked with those individuals actually in the past, exactly 2 years ago. So I'll go very briefly because it's very complicated. This is not a forensic channel, right? But there is a term called NGI, definition right here. Not guilty by reasons of insanity, NGI. So out of every court cases, entirety of the United States, only 1% of every committed felons and murders and homicide and felonies fall under NGI, not guilty by reasons of insanity. It's extremely rare. And out of that 1% of all court proceedings, only 1% of that 1% actually is confirmed NGI, not guilty by reasons of insanity. Why? Those individuals committed those crimes, murder or otherwise, while they were psychotic. And psychotic means you have a reality break. That's psychosis. You're not really you. And many individuals who actually qualify for NGI per their psychosis and severe mental illnesses, such as schizophrenia or some sort of a psychotic break. Although this is very important here. That's why this is a very convoluted topic. People with schizophrenia are not schizophrenic and not dangerous by default. That is not the case. Schizophrenia, just like any other mental illnesses, although on a severe front, that doesn't mean they're criminals. That doesn't mean they're bad people. They too are people suffering from their mental illnesses. That is it. Doesn't mean they're criminals. But of course, people who are unmedicated, who are not seeking therapy, who are actively delusional and paranoia while having schizophrenia can commit some of these crimes, which is the reason why they become our patients in our healthcare system through the court referrals. That's why it's a forensic setting. And some of those individuals do commit killing and some crimes under active psychosis. So they're not really themselves. They do not remember the incidents. They completely black out. It's just having a psychotic episode. And after the NGI process in the court, it's extremely rigorous, extremely tedious, and extremely cumbersome. You have to interview multiple panels of investigations, interrogation. You have to speak and have intakes and assessments and evaluation with multiple forensic psychologists, criminal psychologists, and experts who work in the forensic realm to confirm and verify that yes, you committed the crime, but you're not guilty by reasons of insanity. That's NGI. So that is the route. Sounds like Light Yagami is trying to get away with. So he's done some deep research. But but also even to the writers of this show. They have a very good understanding of the forensic realm, psychology realm. So I'm sure they've consulted with criminal psychologists and people like myself, a forensic psychotherapist, when they're writing this show. But what an unexpected plot twist. I never thought this is a route that Light Yagami would pick. But obviously, with the pause scene, sounds like L is not convinced whatsoever. Crazy. I love the monologue. Hmm? Dude, look at Chief Yagami. Dude, he just more gray hair. He's aged exponentially since last episode and the beginning of this episode. Before Light called L and came into this whatever secret investigation room. Oh, poor Chief. And do you see the dramatic difference between Chief Yagami's silence? Because L already gave him multiple heads up that, hey, sorry to say this, but please prepare yourself. I'll be bringing in Light as a prime suspect. But of course, Light came in voluntarily, so he doesn't get killed by Rem. He has to rescue Misa. That's the deal. But although, again, I don't know how Chief Yagami was going to prepare for that scenario emotionally and psychologically, but when the moment actually comes, when the moment is here where Light is officially being ordered by L to enter confinement, Chief Yagami is freaking out. Of course, Chief Yagami is not a sociopath. He's a human. And as I said before, he's a father first, and he's extremely proud of his son. That's why he's freaking out, and that's why he's pushing back. Remember, as soon as L revealed his face to the detective team, or Kira's detective team, as soon as Chief Yagami agreed to put surveillance of his wife, his daughter, and Light Yagami for those 5 days, Chief Yagami said yes and agreed to do whatever was necessary that was deemed appropriate and necessary by L. That's the level of faith and trust Chief Yagami have in L. L has proved himself over and over again. But when the moment is finally here, when it comes to his son, who is about to be imprisoned and under strict scrutiny and hyper surveillance by L himself, Chief is freaking out. I don't blame him one bit. Again, I feel for Chief Yagami. I can't even imagine his internal landscape, what is going through in his mind, and the level of helplessness and powerlessness that Chief Yagami is going through. Because L is the head of the detective team, and L is the main character. Without L, they will never capture Akira, and he knows that too. They've come too far. This is why Light Yagami said goodbye to Yoke, because this was his plan to turn himself in. And that's why he buried the notebook in the forest, because he knew he would voluntarily enter confinement, and he knew what L would do. This is why he said goodbye. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm getting stressed. Such a stressful show. Wow. Oh, I like that rule. If you lose your notebook, if you don't retrieve it within 400 and what, 90 days or 480 days, you lose the ownership. 480 days? That's more than a year. That's like a year and a half. Why is the grace period so long? When you're late to a restaurant's reservation, you get like 15 minutes grace period for a lot of fine dining and just restaurants. But the grace period for Death Note is 480 or 490 days. What the heck? That's Ryuk's concern? Eating apples? Bro, he's an addict. Conflict of interest. What did I say? Conflict of interest. I guess he was able to stay on the team because, yes, there was some suspicion around Light Yagami, but he wasn't a prime suspect and he wasn't in confinement. But now they've crossed that threshold because remember, Chief Yagami abides by a very strong sense of moral, right and wrong. And Chief Yagami is a true, representation of deontology, like I talked about. Whereas L is more utilitarian, just like Kira. So he's doing his duty and doing it right by the book by stepping down because of the conflict of interest that I mentioned earlier. Very self-aware. Oh, well, I know this is a serious moment, but that's the first time I'm seeing L eating real food. That looks like Wagyu beef. It looks very well marbled. Wow, good to know that he at least have some protein intake because you need the macronutrients, protein, fat, and carbs to sustain optimal health conditions and brain condition, right? But it's interesting that there's a melon or cantaloupe, looks like, underneath those Wagyu beef. But okay, I know. I just wanted to take a break for myself because, oh, this is getting really intense. But here we go. What? Oh. L is not eating the Wagyu beef like it talks about. She's just lifting it up and eating the melon or cantaloupe underneath. Again, very sugary fruit. Anyway, on a serious note, I respect Chief Yagami so much. That level of introspection and impartial self-evaluation, given the conflict of interest and the biases and his urge as a father to rescue his son, he voluntarily asked L to retain and restrain him as well. So he doesn't make any emotional, reactive decisions. Because remember, guys, when we're feeling emotional, logic is the first thing that goes offline. Have you guys heard about crime by passion, where a boyfriend stabs their girlfriend after like a big conflict, and during the interview and afterwards, the boyfriends are like, "I cannot believe I did that. What was I thinking?" You guys familiar with these like headlines and news? It's very accurate when they say, "What am I thinking?" Because clinically and neurologically, when we're feeling anger and extreme emotions, our neocortex is the first thing that goes offline. Neocortex is our thinking brain. And our amygdala right here, is executive control, and it has access to a lot of emotions and logic. So when amygdala takes over, it's all emotions, no logic. That's what crimes of passions are. They get caught up literally in the moment and they stop thinking because neocortex goes offline and they commit murder, manslaughter, or whatever. That's what Chief Yagami is trying to prevent. That he knows that his love for his son is too much, that even him might not be able to self-constrain any longer. But the more impressive part is L's anticipation of that request and already asking Watari to arrange everything in order. What a guy. And also, shout out to Chief Yagami. I respect you dearly, and I sympathize with you with the fact that your son is Kira. Oh man. Oh, Chief Yagami's all grayed out. Oh, his hair has turned all gray. He's actively losing life force. Oh, I'm getting my temple's hurting, my head is hurting. Oh, I feel for Chief, dude. Oh man, poor guy. This has gotten crazy. Is there a chance that he wanted to stop the murders because, again, he's banking on the whole NGI, not guilty by reasons of insanity argument that I talked about earlier? Is he hoping that there would be a revolt and a skyrocketing uptick in crimes committed? Because remember, we talked about violent crimes worldwide have decreased by a lot because out of fear for Kira, this supernatural savior, right? But since the murders have completely stopped, do you think there's going to be an increase in crime? And is that going to create some sort of a revolt? And is the public going to speak up? Is he trying to utilize the power of the masses? Almost like Marxism type? I don't know what he's planning. This is way beyond my intellectual capacity. But yeah, I have the same question as L. What is Light thinking about? And this is definitely not like Kira. Exactly. No matter the result, when I get out of here, I will leave with my son. What's the implication? That Chief Yagami will do whatever it takes to rescue his son, clear his name? Because so far, the fact that the level of despair and depression that's literally exuding off of the screen, off of Chief Yagami, we all know at this point that Light Yagami, aka Chief Yagami's son, is Kira. But that desperation, and he's even endorsed his plan to leave here, regardless the outcome of Kira or Light Yagami being convicted. And it's so, I laughed out loud, even though it's a serious and heartbreaking moment, because again, L's autism shows up. L is literally telling Chief Yagami, go rest, take it easy, stop mooning over things. It's like when someone's severely depressed, you tell them, hey, guess what? Stop being depressed. When someone's anxious, it's like telling them, hey, don't be anxious. Everything will be all right. What are you talking about? It's so invalidating and even more triggering and infuriating. That's why Chief Yagami freaked out. He's like, what are you talking about? Where could I go? Nowhere, even in a 5-star hotel with complete premium spa treatments, Chief Yagami will not be relaxed because he just found out that his son is most likely Kira. So he is right. Being in prisons and having proactive minute-to-minute real-time update is the best, most assuring thing for Chief. But it's a double-edged sword. Whatever news and whatever updates he's hearing, it's torturous. If he doesn't hear any updates, it's torture. But even if he hears updates, it's nothing but bad news. But L completely doesn't understand how distraught Chief Yagami is as a parent. It's been 7 days. Solitary confinement. Dude, Light face changed. Like his aura literally changed. We call it clinically affect, right? Affect is display of our emotions facially. But literally, Light vibe changed and he reverted and changed back to Light as a primary and no longer Kira by forfeiting the ownership of his death notes. Wow. Was he planning on to waiting 7 days for this to happen? Man. True. Dude, this is like must be such an eerie experience for all the detectives because they're seeing the exact same switch of personality and switch of dramatic presentation difference with what happened with Misa before she passed out and regained consciousness, and now Light. Complete flip and complete change in their mannerism, their speech, their desperation, and just how they present themselves. It must be so confusing for everyone involved. Poor L, dude. 15 days. Oh, that's the first time we're seeing L being flustered and actually slapping Matsuda's hand. Because he's usually very respectful, like Mr. Matsuda, Mr. Yagami, Miss Amane. But this time he called it by his name and slapped his hand. Because Matsuda is acting very rashly, very impulsively, very emotionally. This is an extremely critical moment. And L, just like Chief Yagami, but for different reasons, L is under so much pressure, so much stress. That's why impulsive actions and acting emotionally is not permitted, and there's no room for emotions, which is Matsuda's displaying. It's all emotions. Interesting. The whole tactic used by behavior analysis unit, BAU, that I talked about, of like zooming in into micro expressions, that's back. But this time, Light is voluntarily exposing his micro expressions by asking L, look into my eyes, zoom in your camera, look at my micro expressions. Do I look like I'm lying? And in this case, after the erase of his memories and forfeiting of his ownership, Light Yagami is not lying because he no longer remembers anything and any of the murders he's committed. So confusing. Dude, this is why the episode is called Decision. Because L cannot make any decision without a direct confessions of crimes. And he's so bamboozled right now. I feel you, L. I would not want to be like you right now. Anyway, what a crazy 2 episodes. And the plot continues to thicken and intensifies. And as always, I really appreciate tuning in. And can you double check? Make sure you're subscribed. If you want to make sure my videos, all of my videos, show up on your feed. And I would love to hear what's one thing that you're taking away from this video. And is there any questions that you have, either with forensic psychology or any concepts I talked about? Leave in the comments below one thing you're taking away and the question that you have. Or reach out to me. I'll try to share more relevant information and answer whatever questions you may have. Since I do try to answer and respond to all the questions, I appreciate you tuning in as always. It means a lot. Till then, till next time. Peace.